we've made a lot of significant changes for 3D in this second version. The first thing is that we've created a new fabric engine, and it creates more realistic fabric properties. In version 1, we used the default Blender fabric engine. Now we've created a GERBER proprietary fabric engine, and it allows us to account for more material properties that reflect the real-world attributes of the fabric. We also have improved the performance of the rendering and the simulation, so you can get to up to 10 times faster simulation, which is great because you spend less time waiting for the results of your rendering. We've also put in the ability to change the fabric properties in your 3D view. So you'll see there are new fields for mass, stretch, and bend, and you can interactively edit these in the 3D view. You can also change what fabric is assigned to the model in the 3D view. And I'm going to be showing a demonstration so you'll be able to see these features. But when you change the fabric properties interactively in 3D, it lets you change the design more flexibly and interact with the design. And then also we've included a new fabric editor. And this is available from Pattern Design and the model editor. And it's also being used by AccuPlan. So when you see the AccuPlan webinars, you'll hear about this new fabric editor as well. You'll see that there's a button with an E on it, which is what opens up the new fabric table, which we can see here on this slide. Okay, so our first demonstration here shows the new fabric engine. What we have is the same dress with two different fabric values between the left and the right. So notice the skirt and the folds of the skirt around the thigh knee area to where it hits the floor. You can see that the fullness represented in the fabric is different between the two views. So this is done by modifying the bend value that's applied to the fabric. Then you can see over in the menu areas, we have new fields that represent the fabric properties. Now let's look at how you can change the fabric that's assigned in the model. So here we started with a gray shirt and pants. And what we're doing is we're selecting the fabric type for self and contrast, and we're assigning a different fabric. So we've gone from a gray garment to a pink garment. So this will let our users interactively change designs in the 3D view. Okay. Now we've also added a variety of functions that let you do modifications in the 3D view and make changes to the actual pattern geometry. So you can now draw lines in the 3D view, and those lines are added to your 2D pattern. You can reposition images in 3D. You can modify hems, and you can add text or annotation to your 3D simulation. Once you make those modifications, you sync the changes between 3D and 2D. So there's a function in the 3D window and a function in the 2D window that allow you to sync the changes between 3D and 2D. Rendering now also supports multiple models. So when you select cloth simulation from inside of accumark PDF, if you have more than one model open, you can select multiple models and have them render at the same time. And there's also significant improvements with layers. So you'll see in the demo how we can now show a shirt over a pant without collision. So starting here, we're going to look at how we can either scale or move images in the 3D view. So here we've just made the tree smaller, and we'll now reposition it on the shirt. And then these changes are also sent back to your 2D view after the modifications are made in 3D. And then here we're adding text. So our customers can add collaboration and modification notes to their 3D rendering. I've got two models open, the shirt and the pants. So when I select cloth simulation, it presents a list of different models that are available. And so here we can see the shirt over the pants, and there are no collisions between the two. Now we're drawing a line on the 3D pattern, and also go ahead and move the hem. And once these changes are complete, we're selecting a button that says Sync to 2D. And when we go into the 2D window, we can see that our new line has been added at the neck, and the hem is moved. So we're just doing an undo redo here so you can see the changes. Now there are also a variety of enhancements that have been made with regard to working with trim. When you apply trim images, there are new options in the dialog box that let you control whether the trim is on both the left and the right of the garment, or just the left or the right. You can also select regions of images to be used in the pattern and the rendering. So let's say in this example here with our flowers, if you don't want to use the entire image, you can select just a region of it. And then the images on the right show that there are a variety of options that let you control how edge trims intersect. So when you've got, for example, on this pocket, two different stitch types along the top of the pocket and the edge of the pocket, you can control how those two images display when they intersect with one another. We also now support Albanon avatars as well as scanned avatars, which would come in as initially as an OBJ file. So we can either bring in Albanon avatars or take an OBJ and convert it to a Gerber avatar. We also have an option called cycles rendering, which provides photorealistic images of your rendering. So the ability to support these other avatar types is very important. Many of our customers around the world either use Albanon dress forms and need the corresponding digital file, or they will want to have their fit models scanned, which we can then convert into an accumark avatar. There's also been improvements in the area of how pleats and fullness are displayed when you're doing rendering. And in the pleat functions now, there's a new option called distance along pleat. And this allows you to specify how far along the pleat it should look ironed or pressed. So you can control how that pleat falls in your 3D rendering. There are also new settings for creating collar fold lines. So there is settings for your diameter, but you can change the fold diameter where that fold line is on your collar. And you don't have to have a constant fold diameter for the length of the collar. You can put in different values now and have it taper from a tight fold at the back of the neck to a more relaxed fold towards the front of the neck. And if you'll refer to your What's New more detail in terms of how this actually works. There are also some changes with regard to the body position editor. So the editor has been enhanced, got a nicer user interface, and there's also a new function called reset cylinders. So what this means is when you define cylinders for things like your arms and your legs, you can now have those values saved with your model. So if for one particular model, if you need a smaller diameter cylinder, and then in another model you need a larger diameter cylinder, you can now control this by model rather than having a common cylinder diameter for all models. So this will help you have more control over your rendering. We've also created a new fabric table, and it has predefined values for a variety of different fabric types. So what we've done is we've taken this book called Fabric for Fashion, and you can buy it off of Amazon, so it's available to anybody around the world. And this book actually has about 120 physical fabric samples taped inside the book. So what you can do is go to a certain page in the book that has, say, a cotton twill that you want to use, and you can actually feel the physical properties of that fabric. And then we've created a corresponding fabric table which has entries for all of the fabrics in this book. So rather than trying to figure out what you need for values for the mass, bend, and stretch, you can refer to these examples in this book, and our new fabric table will have these properties already defined. We went ahead and we tested all of the fabric in the book and have predefined values. So that should help the process of deciding what the appropriate values are without having to do the real physical fabric testing yourself. We'll also be providing a demonstration library, so you don't have to create all of the data yourself. So we have some examples here on the screen. We will be sending out a link to a Google Drive that will have all of the model data, the fabric information, and the images necessary to create all of these different rendered styles. This should help you when you start to give demos, so you won't have to create all of this demo from scratch, all this demo data from scratch. And you can see here some of the nicer results we're getting now with version 2. You can now do a collared shirt, and this shirt image here shows the results of doing the higher rendering, so it looks more photorealistic. This example also has an example of a mannequin or a avatar that was a customer scanned avatar, which we then converted to an accumark avatar. And then I just wanted to show a couple of other examples of some of the testing we've been doing here. For our ideation conference this year, we had a collection of vintage garments for a fashion show that we did, and we reproduced these vintage garments in 3D. So this is an example of one of the dresses, and then this is an example of another one of the dresses. And then these are some different demo data that some of the folks in the field, I think Vera is on the phone. Vera did this gymnastics or dance costume on the left, and then one of our folks in Shanghai made the dress on the left. And notice the dress on the right has a flower on the right shoulder, and she created this by simply using the ruffle function. So this is a pattern piece using the ruffle function that was created as a flower on the shoulder, which looks quite nice. So we're starting to be able to get And then this is an example of one of our vintage garments. But there are some interesting other applications you can use to help enhance your rendering. So in this case, we use an application that you can use on an iPhone or an iPad. It's from Autodesk, and it's called 123D Catch. And in the case of this dress, the dress had buttons and a bow on the front of the garment. And we were able to use the iPhone, take photographs of the buttons and the bows, and create this 3D mesh object that we could then import in 3D and apply to our garment. So when you take your different in-person 3D trainings that we're going to have in Europe and the Far East in the next couple of months, you'll be able to spend a little time talking about some of these extra applications we've been working with to help enhance our rendering. Then I just want to talk a little bit about some of the integration opportunities that are available with Unique PLM. So Unique PLM has a function called sample request. So what the customer can do, whether the designer is a technical designer, needs a sample created, they create a sample request, and this can be passed to the pattern maker. So then in accumark PDF, the pattern maker can create the pattern and then create the virtual sample. From accumark PDF, you can export that 3D file to a PLM format. And then that 3D image can be brought into PLM, and then fit comments can be added using the Unique PLM markup tool. So I have a video to show how this process works. So here we are in pattern design. We're going to add an image, and note here that I'm accessing the PLM image database directly. So if you have a customer that has both accumark and PLM, you can link accumark to the PLM material and image database. So we've added our new image, and now we can create our 3D simulation. And once the 3D simulation is created, there is a function to export that file to a PLM format. Once the 3D file is created, it can be brought directly into PLM. So you go into the fitting notes section of PLM, and you can bring in this 3D file. And then what you can do is you can actually rotate the 3D file in PLM and look at it from all sides. And then you can create images that are used in the markup tool, so they can use it for adding fitting notes and use it as a collaboration tool between partners. So here we are in the markup tool, and you can add whatever comments are necessary, and even do things like highlight areas, draw circles around certain parts of the garment, and create arrows to point out specific areas of the garment. You can also take the 3D images that you create and look at them on mobile devices. So in this example, we have an application that's called i3D Viewer, and this is available from the Apple Store. And when you use the i3D Viewer application, the application is free, and it costs $1 where you can connect to Dropbox. You can take the files that are exported for PLM and view them in this i3D Viewer. and you use Dropbox as the tool to load the 3D files onto your mobile device. So this is a really nice way to show customers that we can take these images and use them on mobile devices. Now I have some video files to show, and some of you may have seen these at prior trade shows, but I don't think everybody has, so I want to show them here. So in this example, we have a high resolution image. So you can see with our Blender rendering engine, it has the capability to do high-res photorealistic images. And notice in this case, you can actually see the light reflect off of the texture of the material. So using additional files called bump maps, which you can actually specify in your fabric table, you can create this illusion of fabric texture. And in Blender, the lighting can be set up to reflect off the texture of the fabric. So we're able to get really good high-resolution images. And we also have this example of loose. And what's good about this video is you can see we have the fabric of the shirt, but it's combined with a non-fabric object, which is fringe. And you can see how well the fabric and the fringe respond to the movement of the avatar and the momentum and gravity. So this file, it really illustrates the power of the engine that we're using in the Blender tool. Now in this example, what we've done is we've tested the ability to show dynamic fit. We've taken the avatar with the accumark garment and have added animation with a pressure map. So note on her shorts, in the area of the seat, as her knee raises, the pressure map becomes more red, and as the knee lowers, it becomes more green. So this indicates the changes in pressure on the garment or stretch as movement occurs. So again, this is a really good example of how the power of Blender is allowing us to create